They wanted a devil, because angels never frightened them. They wanted chaos, because order made them feel small. And so, they called for a monster, blind to the truth that monsters are simply men who have learned how the world truly works. You see, real power isn't born from kindness. It's forged in clarity, the clarity to see people as they are, not as they pretend to be. Tonight, I will not speak as a saint. I will speak as a strategist, as the mind they called Machiavelli. For those who wanted a devil, I will show you the man who taught devils how to think. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly climb the ladder of success, while others, just as talented, remain stuck at the bottom? The answer is simpler, and perhaps more unsettling than you think. It's because they understand a fundamental truth about the world. Power is never a gift. It's not wrapped in silk and handed politely across a table. Power is taken, it's seized, and it's claimed by those who have the courage to reach for it when others hesitate. We're often told a comfortable lie, that power is distributed fairly, that it's a reward for virtue and hard work. But this is a fantasy, a story told by the powerful to keep the obedient content. The reality? Power doesn't care about your worthiness. It doesn't care if you deserve it. It bends to only one thing: will. The world doesn't answer to those who are worthy. It answers to those who demand control. This is the first, most crucial lesson for anyone who dreams of rising. Think about it. The weak wait for opportunity. The strong create it. They operate behind the scenes, shaping outcomes while everyone else is busy arguing about what's right and wrong. Those who wait for someone to notice them will remain invisible forever. But those who assert themselves, they become inevitable. The difference isn't talent. It's their tolerance for risk, their ability to act decisively when everyone else is frozen by fear. History doesn't remember the kind or the hesitant. It remembers the bold. Every crown ever worn was, at some point, taken from trembling hands. Every throne once belonged to someone too naive to realize it could be seized. Power is like a current. It flows toward motion. It's drawn to decisive action, even if that action seems ruthless. Why? Because people are naturally drawn to the appearance of authority, not necessarily to fairness. We follow the one who seems unshakable, who acts as if destiny itself is on their side. Whether that confidence is real or just a brilliant performance doesn't matter. In the game of power, perception creates reality. Those who grasp this can shape the minds of others as easily as a sculptor shapes clay. They don't wait for permission to lead. They simply assume the role, and in doing so, they make it real. This brings us to a difficult truth, one that holds many people back. They believe that power and morality must go hand in hand. They try to be both good and great, and in the end, they often become neither. Goodness can become an excuse for being ineffective. Morality, when you cling to it too tightly, can become a leash, one you willingly hand to those who want to control you. The truly strategic mind understands this. To lead effectively, you must learn the art of selective virtue. You must appear moral when it serves your purpose, and be willing to set it aside when it doesn't. Morality should be a tool, a mask you can wear, not a chain that binds you. The public needs to believe in your goodness. They don't need to know the whole truth. Look at any great empire, any massive corporation, any powerful government. Beneath the shiny golden surface, you'll find hidden deals, silent betrayals, and quiet manipulations. The public sees the crown, hears the anthem, and salutes the symbol of legitimacy. They rarely see the methods used to build it all, because the truth would be terrifying. The person who takes power must understand that respect and fear are two sides of the same coin. Those who are loved can be betrayed. Those who are feared are obeyed. A wise leader uses both, but if forced to choose, knows that fear lasts longer than affection. Taking power requires a piercing clarity, the kind that sees through comforting illusions of fairness and loyalty. It demands that you analyze the motives behind every smile and understand that most people are loyal only to their own advantage. Your ally today could be your biggest obstacle tomorrow. This doesn't mean you should be cruel. It means you must be intelligent. Don't trust blindly. Use trust as a strategic tool. Grant it, withdraw it, and leverage it to your advantage. The world is built on self-interest. The intelligent person simply plays the game better than everyone else. Of course, there will always be critics. They'll call ambition greed and label your strategy as deceit. They do this because they are too timid to act themselves. They wrap their fear in a cloak of morality and call it virtue. But empires aren't built on virtue. They are built on precision, on cold calculation, and on the will to make a decision while others are still hesitating. Being strategic isn't about being heartless. It's about understanding that the heart is an unreliable guide in the pursuit of power. The leader who rules with emotion will soon be ruled by it. Timing is just as important as courage. The right move at the wrong moment is a wasted effort. The patient strategist knows exactly when to strike, when to retreat, and sometimes when to simply stand back and let their rivals destroy themselves. The true art of power is invisibility. You influence events without anyone seeing your hand at play. You make others believe your decisions were their own brilliant ideas. Let them think they chose you. Let them believe they needed you. When this illusion is perfect, you won't have to fight for authority. They will hand it to you, convinced it was their choice all along. But none of this is possible without absolute self-control. You cannot rule others if you cannot command yourself. Your own desires, your anger, your pride, these are fires that will consume you if you let them. Every impulse must be questioned, every emotion disciplined. A leader who is predictable is a leader who is vulnerable. The greatest manipulators in history weren't the ones who shouted the loudest. They were the ones who watched in silence, learning every weakness, every pattern, and every flaw in human nature, and then used that knowledge. Embracing this path means accepting a certain isolation. When you're at the top, you rarely have true friends, only observers and opportunists. But this solitude sharpens the mind. It teaches you that survival depends on understanding people, not on being liked by them. People follow strength, not sincerity. They will condemn ruthlessness with their words, but secretly admire it when it brings success. That's why the strategic mind doesn't seek approval. It seeks results. So, if you wish to rise, you must abandon the fantasy that power will come to you as a reward for being patient and good. It won't. It must be taken, deliberately, unapologetically, and with precision. Those who hesitate will watch their dreams become tools in the hands of those who acted. The meek, despite what you've heard, inherit nothing. The bold inherit the earth. Power doesn't ask for your consent. It responds only to conviction. And when you finally move with that unshakable conviction, when you stop waiting and start claiming what you want, you will find that the world itself begins to bend to your will. Because power always recognizes its own reflection. Have you ever noticed how some people command respect the moment they walk into a room without even saying a word? It's not magic, it's mastery. They've understood a secret that most of us miss. Reputation is not an ornament you polish, it's a weapon you wield. Think about it. The world doesn't have time to look inside you to find the truth of who you are. Instead, it looks at the image you project. People believe what they see, not what is. The wise understand this, and so they craft their appearance with the same care a warrior gives to his sword. Why? Because to control how you're perceived is to control how you're treated. It's how you govern without a decree and command without effort. Your reputation moves ahead of you like an invisible army, conquering ground you haven't even stepped on yet. Those who dismiss it as mere vanity are already defeated by it. They're tossed around by other people's opinions, never understanding why they're admired one day and scorned the next. They think honesty alone earns respect, but honesty without strategy is just exposure. It's like showing your hand in a card game before the betting even starts. The truth is, people judge with their eyes long before they think with their minds. Appearances shape reality because most people lack the patience or the will to dig for the deeper truth. So it's far wiser to build the image that benefits you than to wait for the world to interpret you kindly. The powerful never, ever leave interpretation to chance. A strong reputation can protect you when physical strength cannot. It can frighten your rivals, inspire your followers, and silence your critics, all without you speaking a single word. A feared or respected name carries immense weight in every negotiation, in every meeting, in every silence. When others believe your power is greater than it actually is, you've already won half the battle. This isn't about deception for its own sake. It's about mastering perception. You don't lie to mislead. You shape what is seen to reflect the truth you want others to believe. That right there is control in its purest form. To cultivate a powerful reputation, you must understand human nature. People crave stories, symbols, and heroes. They need figures to admire or to despise. If you don't give them a version of yourself to believe in, they will invent one for you. And trust me, it will rarely serve your interests. So, you must become the author of your own legend. Show the world fragments of your truth, but never the whole picture. Reveal just enough to inspire curiosity, but conceal enough to remain unpredictable. Mystery is magnetic. It compels attention. Once people start wondering about you, they can no longer ignore you. And that attention, whether it's born of fear or fascination, is the oxygen of power. Every strong reputation is built on one key thing: consistency. You must act in a way that reinforces the story you want others to tell about you. If you want to be seen as confident, you must never appear uncertain. If you're known for being merciful, you can't show weakness. If your image is one of cunning, you can't appear desperate. Even when you fail, you must fail with composure. The public will forgive an error, but they will never forgive panic. The moment you lose control of your image, your enemies will gleefully step in to shape it for you. In politics, in business, in life, the fall of great people often begins not with a defeat, but with ridicule. Mockery is more corrosive than opposition because it turns authority into entertainment. Guard your image from ridicule as you would guard your own life. But here's the critical part. Reputation cannot survive on appearance alone. It must have substance behind it, a foundation strong enough to withstand scrutiny. A hollow reputation is like a fragile blade. One hard strike and it shatters into a million pieces. Therefore, you must back it up. Your actions must justify your myth, at least enough to keep it alive. Let your actions feed your image, and let your image amplify your actions. It creates a powerful feedback loop of influence that only grows stronger with time. Once the world believes in your strength, you can use that very belief to gain real strength. Faith in your power becomes a part of your power. However, there's a danger in this. You can become a prisoner of your own reputation. When your image becomes too rigid, it can trap you, forcing you to act in ways that serve the appearance more than your actual strategy. The wise person manages this by evolving without appearing to change. They add new layers to their legend, sometimes compassionate, sometimes ruthless, sometimes silent. Each version is useful, and each is believable. Let the world debate who you truly are. While they're busy trying to figure you out, you are free to move and act as you wish. The greatest power lies in being unpredictable. Those who cannot be read cannot be controlled. You also have to understand that reputation is not universal. What earns you respect in one circle might inspire hatred in another. So you must know your audience and decide whose respect actually matters. Trying to get approval from everyone is the surest path to mediocrity. You must select your spectators. You have to know that the love of fools adds nothing to your power, but the hatred of the powerful can destroy everything. Build your alliances carefully. Win admiration where it gives you an advantage, and be content with indifference everywhere else. To be loved by all is to be owned by all. To be respected by the few who matter is more than enough. In the court of power, perception is a form of currency, and rumor is how it circulates. You must learn to manage it. A single whisper can achieve what entire armies cannot. A well-placed story, a calculated gesture, a deliberate, meaningful silence, all of these can build or destroy empires. Those who ignore gossip believe they're above it. Those who master it rule through it. Reputation thrives on narrative, and whoever writes the narrative commands the audience. If you find that others are starting to tell your story for you, interrupt them with an action so decisive that their words are forced to adapt to you. Force the world to rewrite itself around your presence. Reputation also thrives on contrast. A bright light seems even brighter next to darkness. An act of mercy is far more powerful when it follows a display of wrath. Allow your legend to carry contradictions. It will make you seem larger, more mythic, and strangely more human than your rivals. Perfect consistency is sterile and boring, but controlled unpredictability, that's compelling. Let them think you are capable of anything, and they will hesitate to test what you truly are. Both fear and respect are born from uncertainty. Once they believe you are beyond prediction, they will treat you as something greater than a mere mortal. Ultimately, a strong reputation outlives its creator. Long after you're gone, your name can still move nations, command loyalty, and inspire action. That is the closest any of us can come to immortality. To live on in the minds of others, to shape their thoughts and choices even in your absence, that is the ultimate expression of power. The goal isn't to chase eternity through marble monuments, but through memory. Build a name that cannot be ignored. And whether the world calls it glory or infamy, it doesn't really matter. Both keep the name alive. So remember this. To wield reputation is to understand that perception governs reality. The truth of who you are means very little if no one believes it. The image you project, however, becomes the truth that others act upon. If you appear strong, you are strong, because others will treat you as such. If you appear invincible, even your enemies will hesitate. And in the great dance of power, hesitation is surrender. Reputation, therefore, is not a decoration, it is domination. It's the unseen hand that shapes obedience before a command is ever spoken, and those who master it, master the minds of men. Have you ever wondered why history seems to be written by the ruthless, not the righteous? It's because morality often bends to ambition. The world isn't ruled by virtue, it's ruled by necessity. We're told a comforting story that good intentions create power, but that's a fairy tale for those who have never had to seize it. People cling to morality because it gives them comfort, a sense of order in a chaotic world. They want to believe that justice will prevail, but justice, like morality, often serves the interests of the strong. When the real struggle for power begins, virtue becomes less of a compass and more of a costume. The truly ambitious understand that principles must be flexible to survive contact with reality. To rise in a world driven by desire and fear, you must learn to bend your principles before they break under pressure. The masses need to believe in a clear-cut right and wrong. It's what keeps society stable and predictable. This belief makes them feel safe, even in their powerlessness. But anyone who seeks to lead must see past this illusion. They must understand that morality is a language, not a universal law. It's a tool for persuasion, not a true measure of a person's worth. Playing by strict moral rules when your opponent ignores them is a guaranteed way to lose. Ambition simply cannot afford that kind of weakness. It demands the courage to see the world as it is, not as we wish it were, and to do what is necessary, even when it feels wrong. However, this doesn't mean you should appear immoral. Quite the opposite. The image of goodness is a powerful weapon. Seem moral, and people will trust you. Speak of virtue, and they will let their guard down. The appearance of morality can hide your true intentions better than any disguise. The danger lies in starting to believe your own performance. The moment you do, you lose your edge. A wise leader performs morality. They don't live by it. They use it like a mask, concealing the real machinery of their ambition. When the moment calls for ruthlessness, they act swiftly. When it demands compassion, they display it generously. To them, both kindness and cruelty are just tactics, not character traits. Ambition is a natural, powerful force. It's the instinct that separates those who shape history from those who merely exist in it. Yet society tells us to restrain our ambition, to soften it with moral limits. This is the ultimate hypocrisy. The same people who preach humility are the ones who worship those who rise to the top. They condemn ambition in others because it's a painful reminder of their own inaction. The strategic thinker sees right through this. They accept ambition as a fire that needs to be controlled, not extinguished. They don't apologize for their drive. They refine it. Bending morality isn't about abandoning it completely. It's about mastering it. It's knowing when mercy makes you stronger and when it makes you vulnerable. It's understanding when honesty builds trust and when a lie is necessary for survival. There are times when a strategic falsehood protects a greater truth, or a moment of cruelty prevents widespread chaos. The rigid moralist can't grasp this because they only see in black and white. But the strategist sees the entire spectrum of gray. The world doesn't operate on absolutes. It operates on necessity. What seems immoral to the average person is often indispensable to the leader. Think about it. History remembers victors by their results, not their methods. The world is quick to forgive a ruthless winner, but has no time for a gentle failure. If Caesar had hesitated because of moral doubts, his name would be lost to history. If Alexander the Great had paused to weigh the ethics of his conquests, we wouldn't call him the Great. Greatness demands sacrifice, and morality is often the first thing on the altar. The ambitious accept this heavy burden. They know that progress is born from discomfort, and true leadership requires making decisions that a clear conscience simply cannot bear. But there's a fine line here. Abandoning all moral restraint turns you into a monster, and while monsters are feared, they rarely last. Fear without a greater purpose just decays into chaos, and chaos always consumes itself. The true art lies in balance, knowing when to be the hero and when to be the villain. Power must wear the mask of virtue, or it will inevitably invite rebellion. A leader seen as completely heartless becomes a target, because people will always conspire against someone they cannot admire. So, morality must be kept alive as a public performance, a grand theater where the leader plays the hero, even while acting like the conqueror behind the scenes. Ambition is never pure. It's always mixed with shadow. It thrives on contradiction. It's ruthless yet rational, bold yet calculated. The person who successfully harnesses this force must learn to be two people at once, human enough to be followed, and cold enough to lead. The morality of the powerful isn't measured by their intentions, but by their effectiveness. They are ultimately judged by the peace they create, the prosperity they deliver, and the legacy they leave. The questionable means are forgotten when the results are truly great. A cruel act that leads to stability is later called wisdom. A kind act that leads to ruin is called folly. The ambitious must also have a keen sense of the moral landscape of their time. What is condemned in one era is often celebrated in the next. Yesterday's tyrant can become tomorrow's visionary reformer. The wise don't chain themselves to the morals of the present. They anticipate the judgment of the future. They act today in a way that history will justify tomorrow. They plant the seeds of their own legacy long before their actions need defending. The world may call them cruel today, but time, the ultimate judge, may call them necessary. To live a life of ambition is to accept a life of solitude. Those who bend the rules of morality are rarely understood by the majority. They walk a lonely path, carrying the weight of their choices in silence. But they don't seek forgiveness, because they aren't acting for public approval. They are acting to create order. Someone has to bear the guilt of doing what must be done, and the ambitious willingly accept that role. Their conscience may not be clean, but it is effective. They don't seek inner peace for themselves. They seek the power that can bring peace to others. The crowd will always condemn what it cannot comprehend. They will call strategic thinking treachery, strength cruelty, and ambition a sin. And that's okay. Their judgment is the price of leadership. The ambitious don't waste time explaining themselves to the fearful. They act, and in their success, the world eventually finds its reason. Morality bends not because it's weak, but because it must adapt to a world where absolute purity often leads to ruin. To remain unbent in a storm is to break. The wise leader knows that moral flexibility isn't corruption, it's evolution. It is the survival of a vision. And so, the strategist moves silently between virtue and vice, guided not by what feels good, but by what works. They understand that the highest morality is the preservation of order and progress, because only those with power can protect, govern, and build. Ambition demands this one, stark understanding. In a flawed world, purity is paralysis. Those who cling to it are remembered as martyrs. Those who master it are remembered as kings. In the end, morality isn't the master of ambition. It is its most useful servant. Betrayal is the currency of the court because loyalty in places of power is never pure. It is always transactional. Every promise, every smile, every oath of devotion hides a calculation. Those who walk among thrones and councils must understand that behind every act of allegiance lies an unspoken condition. Loyalty lasts only until interest changes. To rule among men is to live among shifting sands, and the one who forgets this truth is the first to drown in it. The court, whether it is a kingdom, a company, or a circle of influence, thrives not on trust, but on mutual benefit. The moment that balance breaks, betrayal begins. Betrayal is not an exception in politics or power. It is the foundation upon which both are built. Those who expect honesty in the pursuit of ambition misunderstand human nature. Men serve others not out of love, but out of necessity. They praise while it profits them and plot when it does not. The Machiavellian mind sees betrayal not as a sin, but as a symptom of ambition itself. It is the inevitable cost of dealing with people who all seek to rise. Every courtier dreams of the same throne, and beneath every bow lies a blade. To navigate such a world requires not trust, but foresight. The ruler survives not by believing in loyalty, but by mastering it, creating systems where betrayal, even when it occurs, serves his greater purpose. True understanding of betrayal begins with accepting that human loyalty is elastic. It stretches as far as fear or favor will allow. The wise ruler ensures both are present. He rewards those who remain useful and terrifies those who would defect. Fear binds more tightly than affection because it asks for nothing but survival. Love, on the other hand, is fickle. It fades when fortunes shift. Men will abandon you for a promise, a profit, or even the illusion of freedom. But few will betray a ruler they fear to cross. It is cruel, yes, but cruelty in moderation preserves loyalty more effectively than kindness in excess. To master the court, one must learn to read the subtle signs of betrayal before the act itself unfolds. It begins not with daggers, but with silence, not with defiance, but with hesitation. The courtier who once hurried to please now takes time to respond. The advisor who once agreed now questions. These are not mere habits. They are tremors before the quake. The Machiavellian watches closely, never confronting too early, never punishing too late. To strike too soon breeds rebellion. To strike too late invites ruin. The art lies in timing, the moment when betrayal exposes itself just enough to be punished publicly, serving as both justice and warning. Yet betrayal itself can be used. A skilled ruler does not merely defend against it, he weaponizes it. He feeds false trust to his enemies, plants whispers among allies, and lets traitors believe they act unseen. Then, at the right moment, their treachery is revealed. Their punishment becomes a spectacle, and loyalty is renewed through fear. Nothing binds a court tighter than the sight of a betrayer's downfall. Public retribution cleanses doubt. It teaches that betrayal may be inevitable, but it is never without consequence. Power, after all, must be maintained through both mercy and terror. One invites devotion, the other enforces it. But betrayal is not always external. It begins within the mind of the ruler himself. There will come moments when he must betray his own ideals, his own emotions, even those he loves most, to protect his position. To lead is to sacrifice innocence. The hand that feeds must also be the hand that strikes. It is easy to condemn the betrayer. It is harder to recognize that survival often demands the same act from those in command. The Machiavellian does not deceive himself with guilt. He accepts that betrayal, when done for the preservation of power, is not treason. It is strategy. The court is a mirror of human weakness. Every man there hungers for wealth, for status, for recognition. Their smiles are rehearsed, their words chosen not for truth but for advantage. To navigate such a theater, one must become both actor and audience. You must listen not to what is said, but to what is not said. Watch not where eyes look, but where they avoid looking. The one who sees clearly will never be betrayed by surprise. Betrayal is predictable because greed is predictable. Once you learn what a man desires most, you already know how he will betray you. There are those who imagine that by surrounding themselves with trusted allies, they can avoid treachery. They are fools. No alliance is eternal. Even friendship in power has an expiration date. The higher you rise, the lonelier you become, because every companion sees in you a reflection of what they lack. Envy is the seed from which betrayal grows. It blooms quietly in the shadow of your success. The ruler who seeks to be loved by all will fall to the one he trusted most. It is not love that protects power. It is vigilance. The ruler must remain untouchable, respected, feared, and distant. Familiarity breeds contempt. Mystery sustains authority. Yet one must not live in paranoia, for fear without control leads to madness. The ruler who sees betrayal everywhere will destroy loyalty itself. Suspicion must be disciplined. It must serve observation, not obsession. Learn to test loyalty subtly, assign conflicting tasks, withhold praise, grant opportunity sparingly. Those who are loyal will remain. Those who are not will reveal themselves in impatience. In this way, betrayal becomes an instrument of clarity. Every act of disloyalty cleanses the court of the unworthy. The art of betrayal extends even further, for sometimes it must be practiced by the ruler himself. There are moments when deception becomes the highest form of leadership. To betray one ally to preserve an empire, to break one promise to keep a nation from ruin. These are not moral failures but acts of necessity. History is written by those who dared to betray the few for the sake of the many. What the world calls treachery, the wise recognize as calculation. To survive among wolves, one must not only guard against bites, but know when to bare his own teeth. Betrayal, in its essence, is the tax that power demands. It is the price of influence, the cost of ambition. Those who cannot bear it should remain in the comfort of obedience, where loyalty is cheap and meaningless. But those who aim to rule must learn to see betrayal not as tragedy, but as transaction. Every defection teaches, every deception strengthens. The world of power is not built by those who trust blindly, but by those who understand that loyalty and betrayal are twin blades, and both can be wielded. The Machiavellian knows that to survive the court, one must pay in the currency it values most. And in that marketplace of ambition, betrayal is not the end of loyalty. It is the proof that it once existed. Chaos creates thrones because disorder is the furnace in which power is forged. Stability makes men complacent, but chaos awakens the hunger to rule. When the world trembles and order collapses, the masses search for a figure who can restore meaning. In such moments, the strong rise not by chance but by design. The Machiavellian mind does not fear chaos. He studies it, shapes it, and when necessary, summons it. For he knows that chaos is not destruction, it is transformation. It breaks the old so the new can be built. It is the storm that washes away weakness and exposes who truly deserves to command. Every empire, every dynasty, every regime begins not in peace, but in the ashes of turmoil. Revolutions are born from desperation, and leaders are born from revolutions. The one who can navigate chaos, who can move through uncertainty without losing clarity, becomes indispensable. While others panic, he plans. While others cry for order, he offers vision. And in their desperation, they crown him, not because he is good, but because he is unshaken. The appearance of control amid disorder is the most intoxicating illusion a leader can create. The people do not follow perfection, they follow stability. To seem unmoved by chaos is to seem divine. Chaos is feared by the ordinary because it exposes the fragility of their lives. But for the ambitious, it is an invitation. When systems crumble, hierarchies dissolve. The walls that kept them from power weaken. It is in confusion that opportunity hides, because no one guards it. The Machiavellian sees what others overlook, that chaos is not the enemy of order, but the opportunity to redesign it. He does not seek to restore the past, he seeks to define the future, and to define it, he must first ensure the old structures fall. There are times when creation demands destruction, when peace must be broken so that a greater peace can emerge. The ruler who understands chaos knows it can be both weapon and shield. He can unleash it to weaken his enemies, allowing them to destroy one another while he remains untouched. He can allow disorder to spread, only to later play the savior who restores balance. The people will not remember that he permitted the fire, they will remember that he put it out. This is the cycle of control. Create the problem, then offer the solution. The masses will kneel not out of love, but out of relief. Gratitude is more binding than fear, for it disguises submission as loyalty. Chaos also exposes truth. When the world falls apart, masks slip. The loyal reveal themselves through endurance. The opportunists betray themselves through haste. In times of peace, everyone pretends to be virtuous. In times of crisis, only the strong remain honest. That honesty is not moral but practical. It reveals who can think clearly when the air burns and who can act when the crowd freezes. The Machiavellian observes these moments closely, identifying who can serve his vision and who must be discarded. Chaos simplifies human nature. It burns away pretenses until only instinct remains. To rule through chaos requires not brute strength, but emotional precision. Panic spreads faster than plague, and so the ruler must appear immune to it. His calm must be a performance so convincing that it becomes reality. Even if he feels fear, he must move as if certainty guides him. Authority in chaos is perception before it is command. If he convinces others that he knows what he is doing, he will soon find that he actually does. Confidence becomes prophecy. The masses do not follow truth. They follow conviction. And conviction in times of chaos is indistinguishable from destiny. Yet chaos must never be left unchecked. The same storm that lifts a man to power can also drown him if he misjudges its strength. To control chaos is to balance destruction and restraint, to release it in measure, to let it devour your enemies but not your foundation. The mistake of many rulers is that they become addicted to the chaos that created them. They forget that fire, once spread too far, consumes everything, including the throne. The Machiavellian knows when to close the gates, when to let the people rest, when to give the illusion of peace, so that the next storm may be prepared in silence. Chaos demands adaptability. The fixed mind shatters under pressure. The flexible one shapes it. The great strategist shifts like water, taking the shape of whatever situation he faces. He can be savior or tyrant, hero or monster, depending on what the moment requires. To survive chaos, one must abandon the need for a consistent identity. You must become what is needed, not what is expected. The Machiavellian wears faces like armor, each suited to a circumstance, each a disguise that protects the core of his intent. In chaos, identity is fluid. Only purpose must remain constant. The relationship between chaos and power is ancient and cyclical. When order decays into stagnation, chaos becomes inevitable. When chaos burns too long, order becomes desirable again. The ruler who understands this rhythm can ride it like a tide. He knows when to let decay set in, when to trigger unrest, and when to offer salvation. Every revolution, every war, every collapse is merely a stage in this eternal exchange. To rule is not to resist chaos, but to orchestrate its rhythm. The wise ruler is not afraid of storms. He becomes the one who determines when and where they strike. In the psychology of the masses, chaos reshapes belief. When certainty dies, people crave symbols more than truth. They will follow anyone who promises them clarity, even if it is false. The Machiavellian understands this hunger and feeds it with precision. He offers not peace, but purpose. He speaks in absolutes while thinking in shades. He becomes the beacon in the fog, even if he himself lit the fire that created it. People do not need to know the truth. They only need to feel that someone holds it. And in their surrender to that feeling, they give their freedom willingly. Chaos purifies ambition. It strips away the illusions that society builds to hide its fears. In chaos, every man is reduced to his essence. Some reveal courage, others cowardice. The ambitious find in it the one thing peace never provides, the chance to redefine themselves. When the old rules collapse, new ones can be written, and those who write the new rules become history's architects. The Machiavellian does not wait for order to return. He creates his own order amid the ruins. The throne is not found in calm halls. It is carved from the rubble of collapse. To understand chaos is to understand creation. Every great structure was once a pile of debris, every legend once a rebellion. Those who seek safety will never rule, for safety is the reward of those who are ruled. The throne belongs to those who can walk through the fire without flinching, who can turn confusion into clarity and fear into obedience. In chaos, the world reveals its true shape, cruel, fluid, and full of potential. And those who dare to master it do not merely survive, they ascend, because in the end, it is chaos that crowns kings, and order that buries them. The devil they feared was only a man who understood the game. They saw cunning and called it evil. They saw clarity and named it corruption. But he was not born a monster. He became one because the world demanded it. Those who live by illusion call truth wicked, and those who depend on lies call honesty cruel. The Machiavellian does not corrupt the world, he simply reflects it. He holds a mirror to its deceit, and the reflection terrifies those who prefer to remain blind. In their fear, they invent devils to justify their failures, because it is easier to condemn the strategist than to admit their own weakness. The man they call devil sees what others refuse to see. That power is not a matter of good or evil, but of understanding. Every empire, every institution, every relationship is a negotiation of control. Morality dresses it in fine words, but beneath every act of kindness lies motive, and beneath every display of virtue lies design. The Machiavellian strips away these costumes and deals with reality as it is, cold, practical, unadorned. To those who need comforting illusions, this clarity feels inhuman. But it is not inhuman, it is simply honest. To see the world as it truly operates is to lose the comfort of innocence forever. The difference between the devil and the saint is often perception. The saint obeys the rules that preserve his purity. The devil writes the rules that preserve his power. One prays for peace, the other enforces it. One suffers for ideals, the other commands reality. The world praises the saint in words but follows the devil in deeds, because it is not goodness that builds civilizations. It is will. The Machiavellian knows this paradox and accepts it. He acts in the name of results, not redemption. The masses may despise him, but they depend on the order he creates. When the city burns, they do not call for the holy, they call for the decisive. Understanding the game means seeing humanity as a network of desires, fears, and ambitions. Every man seeks advantage, every alliance hides an agenda, every act of loyalty has a price. The Machiavellian does not resent this truth. He uses it. He reads people not by their words, but by their needs. He knows that the most righteous will sin for the right offer, and the most loyal will falter under the right temptation. To understand the game is to understand the limits of virtue. The world runs not on goodness, but on incentives. Those who deny this live as pawns. Those who accept it become players. The player never moves in anger, never acts in haste. He watches, he calculates, he lets others reveal their hearts before showing his own. The impulsive man believes he controls his destiny. The strategist understands he must first control himself. To understand the game is to master restraint, to know that silence can wound more than accusation, that patience can destroy faster than rage. The devil they feared was calm, not because he lacked emotion, but because he had learned to command it. Emotion is a servant, not a ruler. He who is ruled by feeling will always lose to the one who is ruled by reason. Those who fail in the game of power often do so not because they were weak, but because they were moral in the wrong moments. They believed virtue could save them from strategy. But in the real world, intentions are irrelevant. Outcomes are everything. The Machiavellian understands that mercy must be timed, honesty must be selective, and kindness must be strategic. A leader cannot afford the luxury of purity, for purity belongs to those who are powerless. Power demands adaptability. It demands that you wear masks without losing your face, that you play roles without losing your purpose. The devil's face, after all, is only a reflection of necessity. When people cannot explain success, they call it manipulation. When they cannot match your intellect, they call it deceit. The fear of the Machiavellian does not come from his cruelty, but from his clarity. He sees through the illusions they live by. He knows that loyalty is bought, faith is fragile, and love is conditional. To them, this knowledge is dark. To him, it is light. Knowledge liberates him from delusion. It frees him from disappointment. He expects nothing but self-interest, and thus he is never surprised, never betrayed, never broken. This is not cynicism, it is control. The Machiavellian plays the long game. He understands that power built on fear alone collapses, and power built on love alone fades. The balance between them is his art. He knows when to inspire and when to intimidate, when to reward and when to destroy. He is the architect of equilibrium, the keeper of order in a world that worships chaos. The people call him cruel because they do not see the chaos he prevents. They call him devil because they cannot understand that peace without strength is illusion. The world loves saviors, but it survives because of strategists. To understand the game fully, one must also understand sacrifice. No one rises without loss. To protect the vision, you must be willing to destroy comfort. To hold the throne, you must be willing to stain your hands. Every choice costs something: trust, love, peace of mind. The Machiavellian accepts this cost as the price of mastery. He does not mourn what he sacrifices, he measures it. Those who refuse to pay the price remain servants of circumstance. Those who pay it become authors of destiny. To command the game, one must accept the loneliness it brings, for understanding separates you from the crowd. Wisdom always isolates the thinker from the believers. The devil they feared walks among them every day, in boardrooms, in governments, in whispered negotiations. He wears no horns, no tail, only composure. His smile unsettles because it hides nothing but understanding. He does not shout, he observes. He does not fight chaos, he directs it. The world mistakes his silence for arrogance and his patience for pride, but his calm is simply knowledge, the knowledge that power is not taken once but maintained forever through awareness. He knows that the moment he stops thinking, someone else begins to plot. The game never ends, it only changes players. And so the man they call devil endures while the saints fade into memory. The saints leave words, he leaves systems. They inspire faith, he builds structures. Their goodness comforts, his effectiveness sustains. The difference is eternal. The Machiavellian knows he will never be loved by the many, but he will be understood by the few who see the truth. Those few will carry his ideas through centuries, disguised under new names, hidden in new doctrines. For though the world condemns his methods, it cannot escape his influence. The game he mastered continues in every generation, played by those who claim to despise it. The devil they feared was not evil. He was awake. He did not destroy the world's innocence. He merely revealed that it never existed. His power came from knowledge, his dominance from discipline. He understood what others could not bear to admit, that in the end, all men play the game, but only a few understand the rules, and those few, feared and hated though they may be, are the ones who shape the fate of all the rest. They called me a devil because they could not understand the logic of power. They feared me because I refused to live by their illusions. But history does not remember who was loved. It remembers who won. The world will always need its angels to dream, but it will always follow its devils to survive. You can curse the strategist, but when the storm comes, you will look for him, because only he knows how to turn chaos into order, fear into obedience, and dreams into reality. So let them whisper my name with hate if they must. Let them fear the devil they created. For in the end, they wanted a monster. And I became exactly what the world required. It's Machiavelli.